Hi everyone and welcome to another episode of Real Estate. I'm Felicia Tan, the online editor from Ep8 Singapore. If you're at that stage in life where you're considering getting a home with your partner, you've come to the right place. This episode will provide you with some guidance on how to get started as a couple. We've asked millennial home buyers about their purchasing process, from a couple who went the BTO route to a couple who bought a resale HDB flat, as well as a couple who purchased a condo unit for their first home. In this video, I'll also break down some simple calculations to see how you can afford your first home in Singapore. Ready? Let's go! Hi, tell me more about yourself.
Alright, I'm Roy and I'm a clinical psychologist in private practice.
My name is Joy and I work in a bank.
Hi, I'm Andy and this is my wife Ashley.
Hi.
We've been married for almost a year, but we've been together for much longer than that.
Hi, I'm Lynn.
I'm Wilson, and we are newlyweds.
Affordability was one of the key considerations, and also during the time where we were balloting for the BTO, I think it was most of the estates were oversubscribed. So Canberra was a relatively new area at that point in time. So I still remember we waited till the last day and we went for the one that was undersubscribed, just to kind of like guarantee a home. Versus, I know some people are particular about locations, but for us, I think Singapore is only so big. Having a roof is better than none. So we weren't too particular about location.
So currently we're living in a 3-room flat in Tiong Bahru, but we are looking to upgrade. We have already purchased a 5-room flat because this is too small and not enough rooms for expansion of family. Our future home is in the Bukit Merah area. It's a 5-room flat, about 1,400 square feet big. This is ideal because I've always wanted a bigger home. Growing up in a big home when I was a child, so I understand that as a child you like a lot of space to play around with. My wife likes the location, and I mean obviously what we look for is also the price.
I always had a few criteria in point that I needed it to be close to MRT, like walking distance, close to some primary schools, some top choice primary schools that I wanted, and then close to my parents and also his parents. So we had to kind of shortlist our property within only that few MRT stations.
Yeah, I guess we had our short arguments about this. Do we want to stay further and
Was it short?
pay...
It was quite a long argument actually.
Do you want to stay further and pay lesser, or do you want to stay city fringe and pay more?
I had to fight for my rights.
Yeah, so I mean,
yeah,
they say happy wife, happy life, so I gave in.
Did you guys ever intend to BTO at all?
BTO was out of the question for actually a few reasons. I mean, the obvious would be time. Another reason would be size. All the new flats now, even for 5 rooms, at most it's only about 1,001 square feet. Yeah, and that's way below actually what my criteria for a new place is, which is above 1,003.
So why did you choose a 1-bedroom condo?
This was initially not in our plan. So our initial plan was to get a BTO. So we tried it for 3 times at prime locations, and also the east side. But unfortunately, we did not get a BTO. So this was the next best alternative that we're looking at. In terms of the price, it was quite comparable to the BTO. I think the location and accessibility was one of the points that we considered before getting this development.
For us, and we were also thinking, price matters a lot. Whether we'll make a loss or a gain.
So why a condo and not a resale HDB flat?
We did went for a resale HDB flat viewing, and yes, the space is a lot bigger. Very, very appropriate if you're going to start a family. But a lot of the resale flats that are in the locations were either the leasehold was very little left, or it was very old, a full renovation was required. So I felt that the money for the renovation could be put to better use.
Now that you've decided to purchase a home together, budget is naturally one of the key things to consider. However, there are other factors to take note too. For instance, location. If you both grew up at the opposite ends of Singapore, where's a good place to settle down as a couple? Size is also another consideration. BTO flats and new condo developments are generally smaller. Finally, wait time. BTO flats have a wait time of 4 to 5 years or even 6 to 7 years before you get your keys. Likewise, new condo launches also have a waiting period of around 3 years. So if you're looking for a bigger unit and you don't want to wait, a resale HDB flat is probably your best bet and one that is more affordable. Let's hear what our couples have to say.
Actually, why choose a 3-room flat over, like, say, something bigger?
It was a time where I was just starting work and he was not working, so it was like a single income household. So I think we didn't want to stretch ourselves too much, and then like we haven't got married, there's like a lot of upcoming expenses. So I think at that point in time, we felt that we could slowly upgrade. It's not something that you need to invest everything at day one.
Did you make any changes to this place?
Yes, we did quite a bit of changes. For example, we knock away our yard so that we can turn it into part of the kitchen. We expand the kitchen. We also knocked away one bedroom, so now there's only one bedroom in the house.
Yeah, and then I think one of the more radical changes was that we moved forward the bedroom door because there was no way, at least not in the way that we could foresee, that you could incorporate a toilet bowl, a shower and a sink all within a BTO-sized toilet. So we did the olden day concept of a wet and dry toilet. So we moved our master bedroom door forward so that both toilets will now be part of the ensuite.
Would you be comfortable to reveal the ballpark figure of how much you spent on your renovations?
All in, including fittings and furniture, about 80,000.
You guys talked about premium. Would you mind sharing what your budget was like, especially when it comes to looking for flat in the city?
Okay, being realistic, City Fringe, we had to factor in the budget of almost close to $1 million. I mean, that's the price range for the size we're looking at in this area. Yeah, so I guess nothing exceeding $1 million, but initially we actually offered in the 900 range for another property. But I guess things happen for a reason, so that sale didn't fall through and another property actually came out of the market which was way cheaper, younger, and also
Amenities was also better.
location is where we wanted as well.
Yeah, it's still within the city centre, but yet there were more amenities. In terms of like wet market, hawker.
Did you guys have to renovate it?
Yeah, so for this case, right, sometimes you end up paying a premium for a nicely done up resale flat. But then we ask ourselves this question, like, do we want to pay for someone else's renovation? So we thought it's quite silly lah. Why don't we just buy a flat which is almost close to original state?
Yeah, as 3 as possible
But
actually.
we save up almost more than 100k, and then we get to do the renovation.
With older flats, did HDB's SIR scheme or first scheme never come?
Definitely all this SIRS and VERS did come to mind, but I mean, I'm not going to put all my hopes onto it. It's more like a gamble. Like if we do get SIRS, very good. We get relocated to a newer place.
So would you say that this was within your budget compared to the BTOs that you were looking at?
There was not really a budget, I think, was it? Do you have a budget?
There wasn't really a budget, but we had a range that we were willing to settle down for, so it had to be within that range that we were looking at. And this development falls within that category.
And do you mind sharing what was the price range of this unit?
It's below 700,000. HDBs that we were looking at were all above 400,000 at that time.
So with condos, you guys had to fork out like cash, right?
Yes, for condo it's 20% CPF and 5% cash, unlike BTOs.
When buying your BTO, you get to choose between taking a HDB loan or a bank loan to pay off the balance of your flat. If you're taking a HDB loan, you'll have to pay a down payment of 10%, which can be paid with your CPF savings. If you're opting for a bank loan, you'll have to pay a down payment of 25%, of which at least 5% must be paid in cash. For resale flats, you'll have to pay a deposit of at least $5,000 in cash. The sum does not include the valuation fee, legal fees, and so on. If you're going to purchase a condo unit, you are required to pay a minimum down payment of 5% in cash. You can then use your CPF to pay the remaining balance. We spoke to Clive Chung, Associate Director at Red Brick Mortgage Advisory, who shares his views on the housing market in Singapore today. Hi, today we have with us Clive Chung, who is the Associate Director of Red Brick Mortgage Advisory. Hi, Clive.
Hello.
Hi. So Singapore is said to be one of the most expensive cities in the world, including housing prices. But where do you think we actually stand compared to cities like New York, Hong Kong, or London?
If we're comparing prices in Singapore versus the other developed countries as well, like Hong Kong, US and UK, I think relatively we are considered more affordable in the eyes of like the general investors. I think Singapore alone still makes a very good place for people to buy properties as investments for a few factors as well. And the government is proactively taking steps to ensure that property prices are kept within control and not let it surge like what we see in like Hong Kong. So yes, as compared to other countries, we are still quite affordable.
Recently, property prices for HB resale flats or private properties itself have been rising. Do you think we will ever reach a stage, similar to Hong Kong, where people see themselves renting for life?
Well, Hong Kong has been is very pro-business. We see a lot of people flocking to Hong Kong, a lot of expats, and because land is scarce in Hong Kong, so naturally prices pick up. It resembles Singapore very closely because we are still a very small island, and we are also very pro-business. We want to be like the global financial hub. So we do, in a way, expect property prices to trend upwards over the longer run, of course. But the government is paying a very close attention on prices. We don't want to experience what people are experiencing in Hong Kong. From time to time, whenever the prices pick up too fast, we'll see the government come in to intervene, right? And most recently, we've seen the government come out with some measures for HDB in prime locations by introducing a 10-year minimum occupation period instead of 5 years. And even adding on to that, the government has also imposed additional regulations. So generally, when you buy a resale HDB, for example, there is no cap on your income, right? If you're earning $20,000, $30,000, you are still eligible to buy a resale HDB. But moving forward, for all these HDB located in prime locations, you buy it now, there's a regulation of $14,000 on your income, but when you resell it in future, there's also going to be an income cap. So that already dampens quite a fair bit of buyers with a lot of earning power from coming back into the HDB market for these prime locations. Active intervention like that, I think it's necessary to keep prices under control. So I don't think in the near future we would see something like we would see prices trend towards what we are seeing in Hong Kong.
What about private property?
So the private property market is also trending upwards, not as aggressively as the HDB market, of course, but we still see people paying very slight cash over valuations for private property purchases as well, and it's all down to demand and supply, right? There is a huge demand coming up right now, and supply is diminishing. Back then in 2017 and 2018, during the en bloc fever, a lot of developers came in, they snapped up land, and all these projects have already been launched, or most of them have already been launched. So the developers are also looking to replenish the land banks, and because of this demand that's coming up, we naturally see prices trending upwards, but not as aggressive as HDBs, and which brings us to another point, is also because of supply chain disruptions. We understand that there's bottlenecks in supply chains. It's hitting the construction industry quite hard. For people who are initially looking to buy, like a build-to-order from HDB, you can expect to wait 5, maybe 6 years, right, for the flat to be completed. So as such, people are moving into the resale market, which is driving resale HDB prices up as well. So my thoughts is that it will continue to go up as well, the prices of HDB. The government is keeping a close eye on the prices, but I think right now it's already about year-on-year 8%, almost there in terms of growth. I would expect that it might trend closer towards the 10% by the end of the year.
How many resale flats did you all actively look at before settling on this one?
Wow. I think we shortlisted more than 20.
Yeah.
I think we went to view more than 10.
Yeah.
We house hunted almost close to like 5 to 6 months. When I was pregnant, actually, we were already looking for a new place. In a way that it has to be close to a MRT. So this new place is not that close. It's about maybe 12 to 15 minutes walk to the MRT, which is already considered quite far, right? I mean, in Singapore context, because of the weather.
As a couple, how did you guys resolve the arguments, especially because when it comes to housing, it is something that seems to be more common?
Yeah.
Okay, so we came up with our different criteria. For me, it's basically, I guess, one size. For her, she wants location, and I guess the combined criteria will be budget. Because, even though it might seem like a good deal, but check the walls, if you don't know, you just get the contractor kind of see pipes and everything, have all those checked as well.
First-time couples, homeowners looking to buy a condo, or people who are looking to upgrade from HDB condo, what is your advice for them?
My advice would be that do not be so fixated on the exact development that you want, because a lot of factors plays a part, and a lot of external factors such as the price, the agents that you work with, and also internally, your family members. Or do not let it be a pressure point and be so fixated on the development, like the design of that, because of being fixated, you should actually land up in the wrong decision or not to your liking.
Yes, ask the sellers what are your weaknesses in that sense. What's the weakness of the problem?
In this episode, we went through some of the scenarios young Singaporean couples have faced. These are situations you might find yourselves in as well. Our key takeaway? Take your time and don't rush into things. You will be spending some time in your new home, so finding the right one is key. With the wait time for BTO flats looking uncertain, the heightened demand for resale HDB flats won't be subsiding anytime soon. Find more housing information at our revamped research page. To do so, log on to ep8.sg, click on research and type in the name of the property you're interested in. Keep up to date with the latest property news at Ep8 Singapore. Thank you for watching Real Estate. Real opinions, real statements.